Good evening to everyone here in Lansing and to those who are joining us around the world. You know, the music every night is brought to you by a team that I am very blessed to work with. Our local coordinator is Donna Hall, and she has been not only providing us with just the best and most beautiful music every night. She is a joy to work with because of her attention to detail and her organization and her willingness to do whatever needs to be done. And I appreciate that so much, Donna. And then guiding both Donna and me is Bonnie Insminger. And it's been my blessing to know Bonnie for nearly 20 years now. And her generous heart and her passion for excellence and her love for God provides a solid foundation for the music programs that we bring to you. There's a beautiful verse in Psalms that says, "I will bless the Lord at all times, and his praise will continually be in my mouth." Tonight, we're going to hear from two different a cappella groups who are going to sing of the joy and the blessing and the love and the testimony of what it is like to be a child of God. Thank you for being with us.
Child, I'm gonna walk that milky white way. Oh, child, some of these days. Yes, I'm gonna walk that milky white way. Child, some of these days. My stand. I'm gonna join that Christian band. That's when we walk that milky white way. Oh, child, some of these days. Well, I'm gonna meet my love in Jesus. Oh, child, some of these days. Yes, I'm gonna meet my love in Jesus. Child, some of these days. Well, I'm gonna walk up and take my stand. I'm gonna join that Christian band. That's when we walk that milky white way. Oh, child, some of these days. I'm gonna meet God the Father. Oh, child, and God the Son, God and the Son. Yes, I'm gonna meet God the Father. Yes, and God the Son. Well, I'm gonna tell God about my trouble. Tell him of this world where I just come from. That's when we walk that milky white way. Oh, child, some of these days. Yes, I'm gonna meet God the Father. Yes, and God the Son. Well, I'm gonna tell God about my trouble. Tell him of this world where I just come from. That's when we walk that milky white way. Oh, child, some of these days. Yes, some of these days. Amen, friends. Aren't you so excited about the fact that Jesus made a way for us to be in the kingdom of heaven. He came down here to this world, full of sin, took on humanity so that we could take on his righteousness and claim it as our own. Can you say amen to that? Amen. And sometimes when it comes to the Christian experience, we fear because we don't understand what true love means. We think about the judgment and we have a fear of the word judgment. And yet, if we're in Jesus Christ, we have nothing to fear because we know who our high priest is and we know that he is standing at the right hand of God, pleading in our behalf. The next song that we're going to sing for you talks about the joy that we can have in the judgment. Fare thee well. In that great getting up morning, fare thee well. I'm going to tell you about the coming of the judgment. Fare thee well, fare thee well. I'm going to tell you about the coming of the judgment. Fare thee well, fare thee well. There's a better day a-coming. Fare thee well, fare thee well. There's a better day a-coming. Fare thee well, fare thee well. In that great a-getting up morning. Fare thee well, fare thee well. In that great a-getting up morning. Fare thee well, fare thee well. When you see the lightning flashing, fare thee well, fare thee well. When you hear the thunder crashing, fare thee well, fare thee well. When you see the stars a-falling, fare thee well, fare thee well. When you hear the chariots calling, fare thee well, fare thee well. In that great a-getting up morning, fare thee well, fare thee well. In that great a-getting up morning, fare thee well, fare thee well. When you see the lightning flashing, when you hear the thunder crashing, when you see the stars a-falling, when you hear the chariots calling, good news, chariots a-coming, good news, chariots a-coming, so glad chariots a-coming, and I don't want to be left out. There's a long white robe in the heaven I know, long white robe in the heaven I know, long white robe in the heaven I know. I said good news, chariots a-coming, good news, chariots a-coming, so glad chariots a-coming, and I don't want to be left out. In that great a-getting up morning, fare thee well, fare thee well. In that great a-getting up morning, fare thee well, fare thee well. In that great a-getting up morning, fare thee well, fare thee well. In that great a-getting up morning, fare thee well, fare thee well.
Amen. Amen. That was just beautiful. Now we're going to have a group come and sing to us 3 songs of what our Christian walk here is like. The first song was written in 1834 by a minister who also worked as a carpenter, and he said, one day I was on my way to labor, and it came into my mind to write about the gracious experience of being a Christian. And he began to write, my hope is built on nothing less. The second song was written by an assistant to the governor of the state of New Hampshire during the war between the states. And he had been asked to share a message in his church, and he wanted to share about the 23rd Psalm, phrase by phrase. But when he came to the phrase, he leadeth me beside the still waters, his heart was so struck by that line that he made that his entire focus, that no matter where we are in our lives, no matter what our situations, we need to listen for the voice of God, and where he is leading us is where we will find safety. And their last song is Be Still My Soul. That was the favorite song of the great Olympic athlete, Eric Liddell, who would not sacrifice his faith in God in order to compete. He later became a missionary, and this song carried him through the rest of his life. Thank you for blessing us with the music.
My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but wholly lean on Jesus' name. On Christ the solid rock I stand, on darkness seems to veil his face, I rest on his unchanging grace. In every high and stormy gale, my anchor holds within the veil. On Christ the solid rock I stand, all other ground is sinking sand. All other ground is sinking sand. His oath is covenant and blood, support me in the whelming flood. When all around my soul gives way, he then is all my hope and stay. On Christ the solid rock I stand, all other ground is sinking sand. All other ground is sinking sand. When he shall come with trumpet sound, oh, may I then in him be found, clad in his righteousness alone, faultless to stand before the throne. On Christ the solid rock I stand, all other ground is sinking sand. All other ground is sinking sand. On Christ the solid rock I stand, all other ground is sinking sand. All other ground is sinking sand. He leadeth me, O blessed thought, O words with heavenly comfort fraught. Whate'er I do, where'er I be, still 'tis God's hand that leadeth me. He leadeth me by his own hand, he leadeth me. His faithful follower I would be, for by his hand he leadeth me. Lord, I would clasp my hand in thine, nor ever murmur nor repine, content whatever lot I see, since 'tis my God that leadeth me. He leadeth me by his own hand, he leadeth me. His faithful follower I would be, for by his hand he leadeth me. And when my task on earth is done, when by thy grace the victory's won, even death's cold wave